Hello, everybody. So, as you can see from the title of this video, I'm talking about COVID-19. Unfortunately, I do have it. Thank you to my family and friends, my circle of family, friends, my church family, who've all been praying for me and the calls and the texts and just checking on me. And thank you to everyone. Appreciate that. Yeah, this video was talking about me right here, right now, COVID. So, excuse me if I look a little crazy. I was gonna try to get cute for this video, and quite frankly, which I don't know why would I do that? I got tired. I got tired, and that's a part of what this has been. Just doing very, very simple things. I'm getting tired very fast. I have asthma. And I haven't had trouble with that asthma for years. I had allergy-induced asthma since I was a child, and it was rough then, but I hit a point roughly probably early mid-20s. I hit a pretty good point in there, I think. So like my maintenance inhaler, I hadn't needed that the past 4 or 5 years. Only kept my emergency inhaler on standby, but honestly, I didn't even use it at all last year. So when I first started experiencing symptoms of like shortness of breath, I had to call and get a prescription filled for that emergency inhaler because I hadn't needed it in that long. So there's so much, that I hadn't needed because I had reached a good place with my asthma. All I did was, take over-the-counter allergy medications. That's all I needed to do, like a pill and nasal spray. And as long as I kept up with those, for the most part, my asthma was in a good place. If I would, exercise on a regular basis, that was actually good for that too. So I was rolling along and doing well with that. But anyway, here I am at this present moment, about a week out from when I started experiencing symptoms, and just kind of give you guys an update in this wellness check series of how things have been going. Obviously, have been exercising with dealing with all this because of the breathing and everything, but I'll kind of walk you through it, and that'll be that. Will I do a follow-up video? Probably not. I'll probably just do a post, to let everybody know in general how I am, but I don't think I'll really do a follow-up video for this. So here we go. Let me start off with this. Stick with what you know. Go with what you believe is best for you, right? That's good in any situation, but I definitely say that with this. I'm the person in some friend groups, in some friend groups, in some dynamics, I can be seen as overly cautious. I can be seen as the person who worries too much, and yeah, and with that being said, if you are that person, don't stop being that person. So with every state is different, but in my state, even when things were like 25% capacity for stuff like indoor dining and different things for a little bit, I still wasn't dining in restaurants. What I would do, I would go maybe meet up a friend or two at that place, and we would grab carry out, and then we'll all go our separate ways, get home, hop on and do a video call of some sort, use some of the watch party features within the different streaming services or whatever, and we would watch stuff together that way. I was doing that for a good little bit, and then as we got to spring, as things began to open up, and I was like, oh, maybe I am being a bit uptight, maybe can chill a little bit. So I did go to the movie theaters. I saw a couple movies, and I did do indoor dining. And then at the movies, I did also, have, a drink and a snack. So I mention these things because I had my mask on the entire time I was out. I went to a mall as well, but I had my mask on the entire time that I was out, except for the moments when, like in the movie theater, if I had something to drink or I had a snack, my mask was off. In restaurants, mask on until time to eat. And even though those restaurants, they they said they were seating people 6 feet apart. For me, even when I was in there looking around, as I reflect on it, I just felt uncomfortable. I mean, yeah, they kept people apart, but it still, in my mind, felt like a lot of people in one space. Even though we weren't seated right next to each other, it still felt like a lot of people in one space, especially once the mask is off and all these masks are off. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of people who've been here, there, and everywhere and haven't adhered to mask rules and don't have COVID-19. So I'm not saying that to say that if you do what I did, you're gonna get it, but just be careful. Again, I thought I was being careful, but deep down I was a little bit concerned, because for me, even with the limited capacity of certain places, I feel like the moment my mask is off, I was put at risk. Now, the individual I was with, thankfully they don't have COVID. Thankfully, family is good too. They don't have it as well. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for them taking care of me right now too. I've been isolated in my room, wearing a mask when leaving the restroom and disinfecting when coming in and out of there. And there's been lots of disinfecting. That's a lot of what we were doing in the household before anyway. But that's another thing, if you live with other people, it may be frustrating for you to try to limit some of your social interactions, but keep that in mind too. Especially if you do live with others, you are putting them at risk too. And we've had to do a lot of things differently just because I alone have it. And, but they've been really good with taking care of me, and I appreciate them, excuse me for that. I appreciate them for doing that as well. COVID's weird. Like I said, the individual who I was hanging out with, thankfully, they don't have it either. But COVID's weird, and just because, they didn't get it and I got it, it doesn't mean that the risk still isn't there. Just because you might be lax or, not that vigilant with the way that you are social distancing and using masks, just because you may escape COVID you may have escaped it all these months, doesn't mean that the risk is still there. I feel like it's one of those things where you never know when it might be your turn. Because I can say, prior to getting it, in this last instance of me being out, there was probably another time a month before that. So this wasn't the first time that I did indoor dining, but a month before that, after months of not actually doing indoor dining, I did it one time. And at that time, I didn't get anything. A whole month went by, I didn't get anything. But this time, and being out and in the mix, I did. So I say all that to say, maybe you haven't been taking all the recommended precautions that are out there, and you've been COVID-free. But with this, I feel like you never know until you know. You never know which time that you don't wear your mask, which time will be the time that you get it. So it's still good to be careful. This thing is still out here. It's still real, and it's still something that you need to be mindful of, again, especially if you don't live alone. I mean, nobody wants this anyway, but especially if you don't live alone, don't be selfish. The restrictions, well, not the restrictions, but the recommendations, whatever, like, it's not something we may have to necessarily do forever, but right now this thing is still very, very real. I have asthma, so as you saw in the first part of the video, I was using what's called a nebulizer treatment. I haven't needed that in years as well. As I said, my asthma was in a good place. As far as a nebulizer, it's been over 10 years since I had to use that. So I actually had to get a new one. My doctor put in a prescription for that and some other medicines, but I had to get a new one. And I'm using that again. So that's not fun. I hope that, talking in faith, that coming out of this, I hope that I will not have to be on regular asthma medication again. I mean, if I do, it is what it is, because I would be grateful to be here, right? So that's not the end of the world, but I just hope that, this hasn't like set me back as far as the progress made with asthma, but currently did need to use that nebulizer treatment. As you can still see, still a lot of shortness of breath. I'll talk real quickly because I'm gonna get ready to wrap this video up because I've probably been talking too long. But I'll talk real quickly. Some of the symptoms I noticed. So I did feel sore throat just for like one day. I didn't think that was too odd though, because I also am a person that deals with allergy and sinus issues. So I'd already been experiencing some post-nasal drip prior to that, and I thought, maybe that was a sore throat. But the shortness of breath came in. That alerted me, because that wasn't a thing for a while. And then I noticed some tightness in my chest. So I got the prescription filled first for just that emergency inhaler. Picked that up, took that, got a little bit of relief. But the night after that, I had aches and chills all throughout my bodies. My muscles, leg muscles, arm muscles, they ached. They were achy. They hurt very badly, and I felt so weak. I felt so weak. I probably had a fever somewhere in there in the middle of the night, but I never actually did take my temperature. I do recall in the middle of the night waking up and I felt hot. And so after all these things, I think I'm recounting it the right way. I called, looked around, searched for a place where I can get a test done. Went, got the test, and then I didn't do the rapid test. It was the regular one, but I did find out within a day. And I guess they were able to do it so fast because this particular place didn't have a lot of tests to process, I guess. But I was able to find out within a day, although I did not do rapid testing. I found out within a day that, I tested positive for it. And it was, I'll be honest, although I am a person of faith, I did have some concern because each day the chest kept feeling tighter and tighter, even though I was taking that inhaler. So I finally got to my doctor, not to them, but got to talk to them. And so like I said, they put in prescriptions for several things. First line of action though was the nebulizer, and it was like, if that treatment wasn't working, okay, the next stop, the ER. I didn't want to have to go there. I was concerned that I might have to, but thankfully I didn't need to. That nebulizer changed a lot, but my chest felt horrible. It felt like a piece of concrete. It was just in there and putting this pressure against my chest. So thankfully that feeling is no longer there, but still the shortness of breath is still very much there, still very real. I had some clothes that prior to COVID, some clothes that I put off folding. So since I was confined in my room, I was going through them, and even that was a task that took me a very long time because I was like moving really slowly and getting winded very quickly. So my energy levels are still and again, shortness of breath is still there, but the tightness in my chest, praise Jesus, that part is gone. What else can I say? I had to contact my job. They do have a separate occupational health unit, so contacted them. They asked me some questions, wanting to know had I been in contact with anyone at work around the time, like right before the symptoms, right after. I've been removed this whole time, so no. Answered those questions and everything. Let's see what else real quickly. I did, when I got tested, they did ask if I'd be okay with sharing that with my state health department. I was totally fine with that. I was totally fine with like any contact tracing type of information. One, I just think it's good to help, keeping everybody safe around you, but also as well, probably since I work in the world of clinical trials, I'm definitely more open to that kind of stuff. So I told them they could, and not long after receiving my positive results, I got a call from my state's health department. They asked me some questions. They, made sure they let me know they weren't gonna be going around sharing my business per se everywhere, but they were it helps with information for the trace stuff and that kind of thing. They also did educate. I knew what to do already in terms of isolation, but they wanted to make sure I knew what to do since I was at home. They gave me a chance to ask them questions as well. And same for my occupational health at my job and the state health department. Both of them said, hey, did you have questions about how you can continue to keep yourself safe and those around you? They were like, definitely seek medical attention, like ASAP if X, Y, and Z happens. And then with the state health department, they were saying we can notify anybody you've been in contact with that they should get tested, and we can do that anonymously. So they asked me that I want to share contact information with them, and I opted not to share that just because I already contacted whom I needed to contact. As far as that's concerned, as far as who I live with and everything else, but I did handle that part of it. What else? But I say all that to say too, they can alert people anonymously, and even though I didn't do that, like my household, and it might be something I checked off on like my cell phone, like that like COVID-19 awareness tracker or whatever. They actually still got a notification though that like someone near them like tested positive. You may want to get checked too. I forget what the verbiage is, but yeah, definitely feel free if you do have it. Feel free to go ahead and like answer those questions, or communicate with your local health departments, your state health departments, because it does help as they're keeping up with more information and trying to make decisions to help keep everyone safe. So I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna probably talk more than I really should have. I'm gonna get some rest. Just trusting and believing God throughout all of this. My prayers with everyone who is experiencing COVID. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Some people have mild cases, some have more acute and more severe cases. But whichever end of the spectrum you fall on, prayers with them. Prayers for all of you who may have lost someone to this as well. And maybe you're grieving the loss of them. My heart goes out to you. My prayers are with you too. And guys, just be careful. Be safe out there. That's it. And thank you again to my wonderful family who's taking care of me. My family, friends, the church, their family too, who've called, text me, prayed for me. I've had people saying, hey, do you need anything? Like, do you need me to send you anything from Amazon? I've just been surrounded by love. I thank God for his love and his protection, and I thank God for the love that I've seen in action all around me from the wonderful community that I have, that is called my family, my friends. So I'm grateful for that as well. You guys be safe out there. That's it for this wellness check.